is the first whistle.
At the Kallenberg Brothers in Two Rivers, Wisconsin. The recovered whistle set is safely placed to ensure no damage.
We had to make sure that there wasn't any debris on the interior where if you put pressure to it, it would hit the bell of the whistle and potentially damage it.
There was a lot of sediment from the bottom of the ocean still in there. So that was the first step. You know, you have to be careful. It's priceless, and you don't want to damage it.
We actually set up each of the whistles independently. There's a lot of harmonics, a lot of sound content there. If you were to put them all together immediately, you don't necessarily know that each of the whistles is performing well. We started on low pressure.
A lower pressure, if there's any loose debris in there that you missed, you're not going to do any damage.
Oh, ain't going no more than that. Huh? It's coming out of there.
That was foremost in our mind. Don't hurt the whistles.
Everyone had to wear ear protection because you wouldn't want to be left deaf by this process.
You hear that?
I had ear protection on, but my ears were ringing for much of the day.
Give it. I'll just let it run off.
Think of blowing across the lid of a pop bottle. There's no moving parts. It's just physics. It's a musical instrument.
I had the chance to pull the lever to blow, I think it was the center whistle.
With each whistle tested and functional, the team was ready to sound them all together.
People in that room, they knew this was a moment unique.
It looks a lot bigger in person, doesn't it? Mm-hmm.
We're hearing this for the first time since 1912. No one else has heard this.
Go.
It was the most heart-stopping moment because it occurred to me, this is Titanic's voice.
It was a massive sound.
Was that pretty loud?
It put so much air through the test chamber, you literally feel the gust of air pushing you back out the door.
Wow.
It was this tortured, anguished groan from the past. Like the ship was crying out and the voice suddenly broke and then the voice emanated and faded. Almost as if it was crying out from 1912. It was very powerful.
Welcome. Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Once it was determined it was safe to blow the whistles,
They took them back, and it was a couple months until they had everything set up to do the sounding in St. Paul.
When word got out the whistles were going to be blown in St. Paul, Titanic enthusiasts from around the world started making travel plans.
My mother, probably about the mid-'70s, told me about this wonderful ship called the Titanic. It struck an iceberg and sank with a great loss of lives, but the ship was very beautiful and very elegant. And of course, I found it so fascinating. 1999, we heard that the Titanic exhibit was going to be in St. Paul. Gotta go, right? Loaded up my two small boys, my wife. Of course, you gotta take the video camera with.
It was really something. The crowd was massive. I mean, the streets were packed, and I had to say a few words. So I said a few words. I don't think they were very good words.
Today, as we listen to the haunting sound of the M.R.H ship, we should reflect on many heroes and innocent victims who lost their lives in that fateful night.
It was nerve-wracking. I mean, you could look out and you could not see the end of that sea of people going up into downtown. It was a stressful deal. And my thought at the time was, I hope they have enough air.
I was maybe 50 feet or so from the whistles. And the first time they didn't really do a countdown, they just said, here we go, and they blew them.
The reaction was a roar from the crowd. There was silence when people realized, this is Titanic we're hearing. A voice from the past, a dead voice, suddenly alive.
It was impressive. Far more so than it was when we had them here in our facility because the air was endless. And it's completely different outside. It doesn't sound like that when you're in a test chamber.
We wanted more. 3, 2, 1. They blew them a lot longer this time, the second time. The crowd applauded and roared.
What moved me about the event in St. Paul was not the sound of the whistles, but the reaction of the people.
It was a happy time and also a sad time. Many people that perished that night, that's also what they heard before the ship sank.
I mean, you see it in pictures, and then you see it in real life. It's right there. Brings it home a little bit.
It was like going back in time. I still can't believe it happened.
It was a very meaningful time. We were a part of the new history of the Titanic.
That day in St. Paul would be the last time the whistles were sounded. Due to their fragile condition, it was deemed too risky to attempt again. But for one glorious day, the sound of Titanic's voice awoke the imaginations of thousands.